Hello, fellow wanderers. I'm Endri, and it's been a while. I haven't really been recording or uploading lately, and I'm not going to get into why, but suffice it to say, I decided instead of continuing on with what I was doing, which was kind of driving me up a wall, I thought I would take a break and play something more for me. So, this says Final Fantasy III. It lies. I have Final Fantasy III recorded. This is not it. However, we are going to be playing Final Fantasy III here, Final Fantasy VI in Japan, and we're going to be playing a very special version of this game. This is not the Final Fantasy VI that you remember. Let's go ahead and start a new game. For the sake of my own sanity, I will not be reading the text that is scrolling across the screen. It auto-advances. I'm fairly certain you can all read it if you care to do so. I will summarize. A long time ago, there were an ancient race of Magi that basically fought a war and destroyed the world. Now, an evil empire, because it's always an evil empire, has come to restore magic, and, well, that's bad, because magic is bad. So this is the last Final Fantasy game made on the SNES. It did come to the United States. It came here as Final Fantasy III. Final Fantasy IV was Final Fantasy II, and V was never released here. Now, I said this is a special version of this game because this is actually a modded version of the game. And the mod I'm using is called Brave New World. And it is hard. I'm going to die a lot. Brave New World is a complete overhaul of the game. It changes several of the underlying mechanics. It changes all of the encounters. All the item locations are altered. It's definitely quite the mod. This is auto-scrolling, by the way, hence why I'm not reading it. But yeah, I'm going to die a lot. I have done an almost complete playthrough of the mod. I have not gone through the final dungeon yet. And I thought, hey, why not record it? And I'm not sure how high the audio for the mic is going to be at the moment. Like I said, it's been forever since I recorded. So if it's a bit loud, I'll fix it later. One of the big changes in this game, for this particular game I should say, is that I will not be editing out the random battles. The reason for this is the random battles in this game are hard. Very hard. So you get to suffer with me. Anyway, over there on the right, the strange-looking one with the green hair. It is green, right? It's almost gray to me, but colorblind. Anyway, the strange girl there with the green hair, that's our main character for this portion of the game. Final Fantasy III is a little odd in that there really isn't supposed to be a main character. But for the sake of ease, we'll say for the first half of the game, it's Terra. And I can skip that cutscene. Don't worry, there's no text, just credits. And here we are. We're marching through Narshe. Narshe. However you want to pronounce it. Are we done with the auto-scrolling? Yes. I'm still not reading the text. There's no point. So there's a few things different about this version of the game. We'll get into it a bit. You'll see one of them almost immediately if you're familiar with the game already. I am going to fight all of these battles because experience is good. Here we have Lobos. As you can see, the enemies are fairly fast, and they kind of hurt. We'll be using Fire Beam. Terra does not have her extra abilities. They've been repurposed. That being said, she doesn't really need them. The base beams were always good enough in the Magitech armor. So that's the first major change you're going to see. There will be others. Anyone else want to come and play? No. I'm going to try and fight all these battles. Like I said, the XP is useful. And the money. The money. Gold is very useful in this version of the game. Perhaps a bit unlike it was in the original version. But many things have changed. Most for the better. The encounter rate is a little high. And like I said, I'm going to make you suffer through all of them. Yeah, evasion works. It did not work in the original version of the game. Everything was determined by magic evade. Not so anymore. All of the enemy scripts have been redone. Many enemies that you used to be able to just brute force your way through now have hard counters to certain maneuvers. And we'll see more of that in a bit. I will go through the tutorial section. Believe it or not, this is not the tutorial, because that's not how Final Fantasies did their tutorials back in the day. And look, Phase and Wedge gain levels. I would let them die to take all of their XP, but this version of the game is really dangerous. So I don't want to lose their support. And to my knowledge, there's no way at this point in the game to revive them. So we'll try and keep them alive. We've got Heal Force and Cure and all that good stuff in case we need it. Do we have any more fights up here? No. I think we have a fight if we go left here? Nope. Okay. Maybe not. I thought some of these were skippable, but perhaps not. Ooh, a pincer attack! Pincer attacks are really dangerous. Don't hit him in the back. Well, the Magitech armor is pretty tough, so it doesn't really matter. Getting hit in the back hurts. I don't know if it did originally. It definitely does now, though. Let's do a Heal Force just to get some hit points back. Yeah, the Heal Force is a little bit of overkill, but you're not really supposed to die in this section. Can you? Almost certainly. Wedges. Cruising towards dying right now, in fact. Let's Heal Force, and then kill these guys. Let's see, what else? Oh, we'll get to Welk soon, the first quote-unquote boss. He's been changed a little bit. He is significantly more dangerous if you're not paying attention. The overall point of this mod was to make it so you couldn't just mash A and win. Is it A on the controller? I don't know. I'm playing on an Xbox controller. All the buttons are a little bit off. I think the X, Y, A, B are reversed on the Xbox controller. I'm not sure. Oh, tougher foes. By the way, don't use ice beams on the Mastodons. All creatures who share a sprite more or less share their weaknesses and their strengths. So if memory serves, the mammoths there are completely immune to cold or wind-based damage. And the nice thing is, if you do decide to get the mod, just look it up on Google. There is a thing called a print me in there that tells you what all of the enemies' weaknesses are, what all the equipment stats are, because equipment is way more important in this version of the game. I will show that off at another point, probably when we're done with this portion of the game. We learned fire! Excellent! Fire will be very useful. Not as much for this next section, because oddly, a lot of the enemies in the early part of the game are immune to fire. So, yep, they found an Esper in the mine shaft, and we are come to collect it. Ah, big change. So here we have a save point that is gray. That restores all of your hit points and magic points. Very nice. Look forward to those. They make the game much more manageable. Tenths no longer exist. If you want to restore HP and MP, do it with items. Tenths at save points no longer work, which is kind of neat. Basically, the developer said, hey, You could save anywhere on an emulator, and you have to use an emulator to play the game. So, let's change the focus a little bit. This is Welk. He's the first boss. Hold it! Think back to our briefing. What about it? Something about a monster that eats lightning and stores the energy in its shell. Right, so whatever you do, don't attack the shell. Got it! Eh, it missed. So, hey, what happens if I hit the shell with lightning? I don't know. I actually didn't test this, so I'm curious to see what's going to happen. How about fire? Fire on the shell? It doesn't seem to be reacting much to me. Wave cannon! Oh, that's great. I love that. The in-joke there, besides the fact that Welk would absolutely own you in the original game, if not as spectacularly, is that if you go to the forum for this game, the subtitle on the forum is, "So you attacked the shell, didn't you?" There you go. Alright, let's fight Welk a little more seriously. So one of the things this is teaching you, though you don't know it at the point, is, well, besides the fact that enemies counter, and counters suck, is, don't just mash through the prompts. Just because your character can act, does not mean that they should act. We're not in a hurry. Welk is not really a threat to us in our Magitech armor. So we're not going to push our luck too much here. Ow, 12 full damage. So we're just going to do a single round of fire beams here. I don't remember how quickly Welk goes into his shell. It's not particularly long. But this kind of sets the tone for the pacing of the game. Yep, see, Welk's in his shell now. Now at this point, if we had taken any real damage, I would heal up someone. There's no real need to. I believe he also hides in his shell significantly less long in this particular version. One thing to keep in mind, though, I think I hit his shell once when he was inside of it, and it didn't, like, insta-give me. Don't quote me on that. Anyway, that's Welk. He's not too hard. Not in this version. I think in the normal version it takes a few more hits to kill him. Which is strange, because every other boss in this game takes so much longer to kill. They really wanted to make sure that you got to see the boss scripts. Which I appreciate. Sometimes. Other times it makes it a little tedious. Ah, we found our Esper. This is in fact the Esper, you are correct. And what passes for this game's cutscenes. Ellipses! Oh, I have to attach the text myself, it looks like. Sparkle, sparkle! Hey, witch, what's the matter? Frozen creature began emitting an eerie light. I'm gonna stop reading now. Darn it. I said I wouldn't. By the way, there are two versions of this game. A clean and a not clean version. I am playing the not clean version. Expect swearing. It's a little tasteless at points, and it breaks the fourth wall a little more than might be appropriate. That being said, I'm not going to worry about it much. I assume that most of the people who watch this channel, since I know most of you personally, are adults and can handle a little bit of crude humor. And here we are. We're in Narshe. We've woken up after being knocked unconscious by the Esper, we had a slave crown attached to our head. How that works, I don't think they ever really explain. It just makes us not able to control our actions. Fine. Fair enough. A mysterious young woman controlled by the Empire and born with the gift of magic. This is Terra. Hi, Terra. We will be using Terra for not as much of the first area as you might think. But we have a lot of characters in this game. I believe 14? 14 characters? Of which we will be using 12 of them extensively, and 2 of them I will use if I have to, I guess. And yeah, at least I don't have to talk over voice acting in this game. Before we go, clock elixir. All clocks in this game are powered by elixirs. Not all of them, but most. So we can access our menu now. We can look at our skills. We know Cure and Fire. Excellent. We have no Espers, and Espers have been completely revamped for this version of the game. We have a Mithril Bolo, a Buckler, Leather Hat, and Hard Leather. That's fine. It does not really matter. We don't have any other equipment. Anyway. So, we're going to head back into the mines, and now the random battles begin. And the encounter rate is very high. Hello, wild rats. And the downside is, the enemies tend to be a lot faster than I am at the moment. But hey, let's try out fire, since these rats are, I believe, weak to fire. And now they're dead. So that's how we're going to handle multiple enemy encounters. Oh, by the way, you can dash in this version of the game. Just by holding the... on the Xbox controller, it's the A button. But the cancel button, basically. One of the big changes in this particular version of the game, chests no longer change over the course of the game. So the first time you encounter a particular chest, you may feel free to actually loot it. Now, if memory serves, Repo Man there might be immune to fire. I don't have all the weaknesses memorized. Yeah. So all of that particular style of monster is going to be immune to fire. There are exceptions to that particular rule, but they are decidedly exceptions and not normal. Ooh, Phoenix down. We'll be keeping that. We're going to be using a lot of those. Tincture restores 50 MP. And more rats. The big risk is I could very well die. Even at this part. They don't hit hard, but if I don't pay attention and let my health get a little bit too low, they could take me down with a, an unlikely back attack. Though to be honest, a back attack wouldn't be the worst thing, because I am primarily using magic. Nothing over there. And yeah, that's this is the start of the game. Oop, got a crit. Crits are no good. I am going to conserve my MP a little bit, which I might regret later. My evasion's not horrible, and I think the wild rat, I think the enemies here have fairly low accuracy. I'm not 100% certain on that, though. But we'll go ahead and just beat them up the normal way. What other things have changed? Levels now give you set stats. Which is to say, levels now give you hit points and magic points. That's it. For Terra and Celas, who we have not encountered yet, levels do also give you magic spells occasionally. There she is. And we're cornered, and down we go. Alright, so that was a fun game, guys. But, we're just gonna pass out here, we'll get caught by the guards, and that'll be the end of it, right? Oh, of course not. It would be funny if they made a Final Fantasy game like that. However, this is not that game. Hi, Clown Man! You might not know it, but that man right there, he's a clown. He is the bad kind of clown. The one that gives children nightmares. Unfortunately, we don't get to hear his laugh in this part of the game. His iconic laugh. Come on. Yep, there's his laugh, but it works better in audio. But the clown's a little crazy. Interestingly enough, and I don't know if they really go over this in the game per se, the reason the clown is crazy is that he had magic forcibly grafted onto him. He basically was the prototype experiment for that. And it broke his mind. We'll be seeing all of these characters later. Terra back there is not cheering. She's under mind control. But apparently her mind control does not include cheering for the Empire. All right. And here comes the character that I think is probably more apt to be the real protagonist of the first half of the game. He's certainly used a lot more. But here we have the treasure hunter Locke. He's a thief. Sorry I went through that a bit quickly. He was just yelling about how he's not a thief, he's a treasure hunter. Anyway, now we're going to go find the girl, get her to the Returners, who are the resistance group, because every good empire needs a resistance group to keep them in line. And yeah, we're going to rescue her and head to Figaro, who pretend to be friends of the Empire, but are really sympathizing with the Returners. Well, we didn't have to fight through any random battles to get here, at least. And here we're going to see a type of battle that I think is only used twice? Basically, we're going to have waves of monsters come up and try and get to us, and we're not going to let them. Hey, Kupo! You've got Moogles! Yep, Moogles are going to help, and you're going to get a bit of a tutorial here on how to use the Moogles. Yep. Nah, I'm good. I don't need the tutorial. Basically, if you press Y, X on the Xbox controller, switch between the Moogles. In the original game, you could go over to Mog, and you could steal his mithril lance and all that sort of thing, and it'd be great. Don't do it. Don't steal Mog's stuff. What we're gonna do, we're gonna form a little conga line here, just in case Locke's group goes down for some reason. We'll have a backup line of Moogles here, and we're going to try and fight all of these battles just with Locke's group, because I would like him to get the XP. Fortunately, we're still kind of in the tutorial section, so things do not hit particularly hard. The Kumama down there, you saw her get a crit. She has a staff equipped, I believe, and as long as you have MP, you have an increased chance to get criticals, at least in this mod. Yeah, these enemies really aren't that threatening. We should be okay to kill them all. I'd like Locke to get a level, if at all possible. It might not be, but at the very least, we're getting XP. You could, at this point, like, leave these two back there, and then make a run for the boss and fight the boss, and Why skip out on a free chance for XP and money? Besides the fact that, you know, we could potentially die or something. And there we go. I don't think I can actually look at Kumama's equipment. I note that one of them's got a flail. Can I look at their equipment? Nope. One of them has a flail. I don't think I ever use a flail when I play through normally. I might do that this time. We'll see. Speed of characters makes a big difference, determining whether or not you manage to get a hit in before the enemies go. Unfortunately, we don't have a lot of control over that. You do not gain secondary statistics by leveling anymore, but we'll kind of get into that when it becomes slightly more relevant. These fights are all identical, if you hadn't noticed by now. Mammoth and Lobo. The order you kill them in doesn't really matter because they're faster than you anyway. Oh no, bite! It's a powerful move. The dogs are annoying because they tend to get one strong move followed by one weaker move. Later on when you encounter them, and they start countering with a particular attack, which we will get to much later in the game, they become one of my least favorite enemies in the entire mod. But we will get to that when we get to it. Overall, the mod is not supposed to be a difficulty increase. It's supposed to be a difficulty increase. It's supposed to make the game challenging in the way that it should have been originally. Now, I think they went a little bit past the mark for reasons. We'll get into those in a bit. If you'll note there, I did not try to steal with Locke at all during those fights. You cannot steal from non-humanoid enemies, and he started with stop. Of course he did. However, since we have a humanoid enemy back there, let's go ahead and steal a rename card. Why? I don't know. It's not particularly useful. That was a counter. Since we hit him with a physical attack, he decided to counter us. Let's kill the Lobo there. We should be able to handle this decently. I have no way to get rid of that stop, unfortunately. Ow, that was not a counter. Okay, we're good. We will be able to make it out of here just fine, lock intact. And now we go into some cutscene moments. Yes, we are in your death smoogles. Remember that cave for later. It does not actually lead to that exit right there. But we'll find that out a little bit later. And here we have a secret passage that, for some reason, I always thought those switches looked like a face, like a birdo face, with something hanging out of it. I don't know why. It's just a switch. Blame the low-resolution graphics, if anything. Yeah, Terra's got amnesia. Poor Terra. And yeah, her memory will come by and Locke's all, "Trust me, I'll keep you safe," for reasons we'll get to later on. In many ways, I think Locke has the most character development of any character, perhaps with the exception of one other. Alright, this is the classroom for the beginner, and unless you've played this mod before, that means you. Yep. We can't go back into town, unfortunately. We can later. Healing bucket. Stat gains are no longer tied to level. And there is no best way to build your character. That's a lie, by the way. There are better ways to build than others. Save points! So we're gonna save. Hey! We'll make it a long episode. Yep. Tents do not exist in the game. Keep your other items handy. There are restore points, which are the gray ones. So yeah. You don't just go back to your last save at Phoenix Down. We can disable XP at any point. I will not be bothering with that. Even if I have to money grind, they've altered the XP curve so that it's very hard to actually overlevel. All equipment has been changed. We will get into that later. Stat boost for equipment stack. 25% damage or HP MP will not. Keep that in mind. And all relics have been overhauled. Some of this stuff is going to be a little confusing to those of you who have never played the game before. And I apologize for that. Basically, at this point, they're saying, hey, you know what? I'm going to skip a lot of this. Trap chest. Here we have a dinosaur. He's not that threatening. I think he will counter physical attacks, or will he counter magical? I don't remember. Maybe not. How about fire? You know, I'm going to skip a chunk of this because it's not really all that important. Phoenix down. This is telling you that chests no longer upgrade their loot. All the chests have been reorganized. Yeah. This mod changes a lot of stuff. I'm mostly coming here to grab stuff. I'll basically be going over a lot of what's in here. Tonics are good. Tonics are now percentage-based heals. We'll be using dried meat a lot for non-percentage-based healing. And yeah, it's time to move on. Now, save. Always save. This walk to Castle Figaro might suck. There's a chance we're going to have our first real game over here. Because this game does not pull punches. Hi, Ravens! Ooh, print of attack. I will take it. I actually killed one. Now, what are you going to do? Oh, basic physical. Just being kind to us. Almost every enemy has some kind of screen-clearing power, which is not good. We'll see more of that later. Leapers! That's the really annoying one. Oh, nevermore. And I'm asleep. And Incisors, their basic attack. I did not realize that those were rabbits on cabbages until I looked at this at a much larger screen than I had when I was younger. I believe the Leapers can also use Gale Cut or Air Slash. I don't know which. It hurts. It hurts a lot. And even though I'm barely hurt, I'm healing because pain. Antlions are completely immune to fire. So Terra's fire spell, not all that useful here. These do poison. Oh, they're being kind today, though. I'm getting lucky. These enemies can really mess you up when you come through here. Now, here's Figaro. We have a little over 5,000 gold. I'm going to save here just in case I change my mind and want to do some money grinding. Halt! Oh, it's Locke. They'll let us through. Awesome. We cannot explore any of the side rooms at the moment. We can talk to him, I think. Dried meat. I want 10 of those. 2 more Phoenix Downs. A few remedies just in case. I might regret this later because I think I'm not going to be able to afford something I want. I want that. I really want that. I want all of those, but I really want the Bioblaster. Will this leave at this point? I don't think it... Oh, no, it will. Alright, well, I am going to do a couple of battles here, and I'm going to let you all sit through it. Mostly because I want to see if the enemies will do anything dastardly. Oh, Sandrays. You're getting lucky with those preemptives. And I am not used to talking like this anymore. No, Sting. That has a chance to poison. It didn't this time. Terra gained a level and learned Imp. We're going to earn the gold we need fairly quickly. But things do get expensive, and we are going to need a lot of gold. And I'm amazed the encounter rate is being this kind. Normally, it's every 3 or 4 steps. Yeah, this should be an easy fight. You'll note there that Locke is dual-wielding. Some of you who know this game might be thinking, wait, how did you get a Genji glove this early in the game? Funny thing about that, you no longer need the Genji glove to dual-wield. Dual-wielding is a property of your equipment. So, if you have weapons that have the baked-in dual-wield quality, you can dual-wield them. I think it's kind of nice. That being said, the Genji glove does not exist at all as far as I know. The offerings, which used to be some of the best equipment in the game, there is one, and a single character could equip it. And it's no longer called offering. There are other little changes like that. Like, if you noticed, I can sprint. So the fact that I can sprint without a relic should tell you that the sprint shoes have been altered. And altered they have been indeed. How are we doing? A little over 5,000. I want a little more cash. I would like to get all of the tools before we head on. Okay, I'll do one more battle. I actually don't need any of the tools except for one. Because, no, I need 2. I want 2 of them. So we're going to get up to about 6,000 gil, and then we will move on. I could sell a tonic, I suppose, if I really wanted to. Don't worry about taking damage out here. There's a free heal inside the castle if you desperately need it. Not at this part of the castle, but after we do a few cutscenes there will be. If we don't get enough to buy what I want, it's not a big deal. We can buy these tools in another town coming up. But I would at least definitely like to have the Bioblaster before we move on. The auto crossbow, near as I could tell, not particularly useful in this version of the game. Except that it's useful from the back row. We might actually end the episode by looking over the FAQ, the printme, I should say, that comes with this game, that kind of goes over all the different weapons and items and abilities, just to kind of show everyone who has played the game what's going on, and the tool that I use to kind of know what to set up my characters like in the future. We're getting some levels. I don't mind being a little over-leveled early in the game, because boy am I going to need it. It's, I want to be at least level 8 or 9 before I go through the next major dungeon. I would say a good level to shoot for the end of the first half of the game is about 20, 22. Not really need to go higher than that. And I would say by the time we get to the end of the next major section of the game, we'll want to be at least level 10-ish. But that'll make more sense in a bit. Apology if I'm making lots of but-ums and catching myself with ums and uhs. This is not particularly scripted, I just kind of felt like I wanted to record a bit. And the reason we're not editing is because I just don't feel like editing this out at the moment. And you can do this for a while. How close are we? We should be almost there. Oh, we're there. Let's pop a cure just in case. And just in case, we'll do another save. Save often. It will make you happy. Some of you might be saying, if you wait until later and you come back, you can buy all of these cheaper with a certain other character in your party. No! No, you cannot. That has also been fixed. So let's grab the Bio Blaster and the Noise Blaster. They're useful. Auto Crossbow, to my knowledge, does nothing significant. We'll get into that in a bit. Hi, person with a unique sprite. Yes, this is the young woman. He thinks he's smooth. He's not. This is Edgar. Edgar is a decent character all around. He is definitely a damage dealer, and I will be building him as a damage dealer. And you'll see what I mean when we get a little further in the game. But everyone's much more specialized in this version of the game than they were originally. For those of you keeping up on modern going-on in Final Fantasy, I would say, basically, if you've played Final Fantasy XII and you've now gotten your hands on the new Final Fantasy Zodiac collection or whatever it's called, the remaster, it's kind of like that. Your characters can't all do everything anymore. And it's for the better. You actually have to design balanced parties and all that sort of thing. So, what do we want to do here? We need to talk to someone in particular. And I want to say they're over here? I don't remember. This is the one sequence trigger I always forget. Nope, was not here. Oh, I think we actually just have to try and leave? No, that doesn't sound right. I'm supposed to talk to somebody about a particular thing. These guys don't say anything interesting. It's all just kind of background fluff. Yeah, we'll take a rest just to refill our HP and MP. We might need it. This does not advance the plot at all, but I don't think that the plot rest we're about to be forced into will fix it either. Let's see here. You! We have to talk to you. Monica, the High Priestess of Figaro, which is a little bit different. And now we're going to have a little flashback moment. Oh no, sad moment. They say boy, but they look just the same now as they do in this cutscene? So, There we have Sabin. Not one of my favorites in this particular version of the game. I liked him more back in the original release because, well, I used him a lot. His blitzes were super nice. They still are, and while I won't be using him a lot in the mid-game, he is super nice towards the end game. For reasons. Oh, we can't just leave. Alright. So if you want to do a little bit of level grinding on Terra while she's alone, I do not recommend it. You can do it there. Yep, it was all settled with a coin toss. I'll probably show that scene off later, if I remember. That's right, we just have to talk to Edgar. Huh, a general. Probably Kefka. Now we have the name of our clown. This is Kefka. And he is, petulant, to say the least. He is completely insane, though. And there you've got the Kefka laugh. The infamous Kefka laugh. So he's going to force his way in here and look for Terra. We have control over Edgar now. We can look at his stuff. He has a mithril pike, a leather hat, and a hard leather. You'll note how the left hand here is yellow. That means he is wielding this in two hands. That means that he does more damage. So the gauntlet effect that you might know from the original game, if you've played it, has been baked in to this particular weapon type. Alright, you have to talk to both of them, then we can talk to Kefka. A girl of no import, you say? Kefka is lying through his teeth. And, Edgar's like, I got a harem. I got pretty girls everywhere. Yeah, a tragedy. I want you to note, looking at this castle, how much wood do you see? Probably not much. But that'll become important in a moment, when you see what they're going to do to try and deal with the traitorous Figaro. Also, keep in mind all of those fans everywhere. There might be a reason why there are fans everywhere. You'll find out soon. Now we're supposed to follow Locke. And Locke somehow got ahead of us despite the fact that we beat him to the door to begin with. I call hacks. You're a thief! Edgar told me about you. I'm a treasure hunter. Yeah. But yeah, Edgar here, who says he's working with the Empire, is in fact working against the Empire. He is part of the Returners. And yes, the whole goal here is to get Terra to join the Returners, because Terra has magic, but Terra does not know what to do. And Terra is a teenager with teenage problems. It is very important to note that her questions and her considerations here are not supposed to be because she is different, as far as that she can use magic. Her questions are supposed to represent the fact that she is young. You know, we have Final Fantasy syndrome here. Everyone is between the ages of Well, in this game, they go a little young. I believe 10 at the youngest. And I think Strego is... Well, Strego is actually the oldest, but we'll get to him later. But the main cast and crew are in their late teens, early 20s. And note, the stone castle is on fire. I don't know how, but there you go. Bring me the girl, now! Yeah, Kefka's a little psychotic. Get ready! This moment was so awesome when I was younger. Yeah, Kefka's not going to be happy. But then again, no one wants Kefka to be happy. He also likes it when people abandon others for their own sake. Yeah, Kefka's just a bad person. And yes, it did just say, dive now. Down we go. This was so cool. Just I remember being a kid be like, wait, what? The whole castle? Indeed. So now we see why there are fans everywhere. I'm not actually certain how that keeps the sand out. I assume it's supposed to pipe air into the castle while it's submerged. I'm not going to question the physics on that one. I'm just not. Oh, and now Kefka's chasing us with Magitech. Oh no! They don't hurt that bad. Ow. Never mind. They do hurt that bad. And let's go ahead and use the Bio Blaster. I don't know if you can actually get through this fight without magic. I think it's... Never mind. I didn't have the Bio Blaster last time I did this part. So we missed a scene. I apologize. Son of a Submariner. He'll pay for this, you Spoony King. There's some Ted Woolsey-isms. And they're all super happy. And yeah, there we go. I'm so used to having to be quiet when text is scrolling. I keep slipping into my quiet mode. So I think they actually set it up to change the text at this part. If you don't show off her fire ability in front of them, there's a little cutscene if you do show off fire during that fight. Locke and Edgar react. And yes, the Empire is going to come after us because they want magic. Though, to be honest, they can actually give magic to their soldiers in other ways that we will discover later. Though the way they do it is not so great. And we got Chocobo, but no Chocobo music, which is kind of sad. Figaro is now gone. It will not be returning until significantly later in the game. But let's save and wander through this cave. We're going to South Figaro. Take care. Yeah, we can do this cave real quick. Recovery Spring. Keep in mind that that is there. And we have some new enemies. Hornets! Hornets have Slow X, a very high level spell that is incredibly annoying. And yeah, the game is no longer playing nice. That's the kind of damage I just took before I even had a chance to respond. They've almost killed Terra. And I apologize for my incredibly cheap Xbox controller. It tends to connect and disconnect somewhat at random. For the moment, we're going to go ahead and just burn through Cure. It doesn't really matter that much. This is not a particularly long dungeon. Let's start by going up here. If you're playing the unmodified version of this game, you are probably going to want to not take all these treasures immediately. They upgrade later on in the game when you come back to this cave. That being said, in this version, it doesn't matter. Spears, by the way, auto counterattack occasionally, so you don't have to wear the black belt relic to get a counterattack. Very nice. 1,000 gold pieces. But all the loot has been homogenized. You're going to see lots of gold chests. But yeah, as you can see, enemies are way more annoying in this version of the game. And they hurt. This Bioblaster should kill them. It does have a delay, as you can see. Locke actually went first, despite inputting his command second. But the delay is not so large as to be particularly ornery. I did buy a bunch of dried meat, just in case we run out of MP. I'm not going to be using fire in here, so I won't worry too much about offensive MP. Yeah, as you can see, the encounter rate is quite high. Target Edgar, guys, please. Slumber, that could have been annoying. That does exactly what you would think. It gives you a chance to fall asleep. We're going to go until I get to South Figaro. I do want to show off a few things. Basically show you what I'm going to be doing between episodes. Right, there's no path there. Silly me. Because I do have to do a little bit of gold grinding. I won't be doing a lot of gold grinding, if I can help it, beyond the early portion of the game. Purely because it's not necessary, but in the very start, there are some fairly expensive relics that I do want to get before moving on. Yeah, so I will do a little bit, but as you can see, we're getting a lot of gold. We're not poor, and if you know where to look, there's a lot of gold lying around. He's not going to kill that one, that's alright. No need to Bioblast for all of the fights. As you can see there, one of the enemies there is slowly regenerating hit points. And that's one thing you'll notice, a lot of enemies come with statuses permanently set on them. In that case, that enemy was set for regen, which meant that if you poison them, they won't actually go into HP drain, or as the game calls it, sap mode. So do keep that in mind. Many enemies also start with haste. And if you're curious about all of that, because you're playing the game yourself, yet again, I recommend you look at the Print Me. It has all of the information in that regard. The game really is much easier to play when you know to look at that particular document. And up here, we've got another 1,000 gold. Do get all the chests you can while you're here. There's not that many of them, so it's not that big a deal. They give you a lot of gold up front in this part because they expect that you're going to have to spend some in Figaro. There are quite a few things we're going to have to spend gold on. I'm not going to have enough to begin with. I'm going to need 13 or 14,000 gold. I'm at 6, and that's after picking up many of those chests. Overworld. Since we've gotten through a dungeon, let's go ahead and save. Yes, saving is that important. I have died to random encounters more than once. Oh, Rhodoxes and Rhinoxes. I think we are actually going to use... Well, we'll just use Bioblaster. Bioblaster is basically the best thing for this part of the game. Always use it. You'll note it did not hit the Rhinox particularly hard. I don't know if he's resistant to poison, or if the little rat things are weak to it. I could check. Oh, we learned Muddle. That's not a particularly useful spell, but it's not a bad one. So here we are in South Figaro. So before we do a lot of exploring, by the way, check all the barrels. I don't remember which ones have the items. We'll find out as we go along. I like relics. They're comfy and they're easy to wear. So let's look at the relics. Most relics also have defensive benefits and or stat boosts. Use the Y button to easily coordinate them with your armor. That's a new hotkey they've added. Goggles, Star Ring, Dragoon Seal. This makes jump happen. Edgar's the only one who can equip it. I will be wanting one of those. We have a Night Cape. I will be wanting one of those. We have Star Rings. I will be wanting 4 of those. And we have Goggles. I will be wanting 3 of those. In fact, I will probably only get 3 Star Rings as well. But just so you know what's on my shopping list. If we go over here, we will find the weapon shop and the armor shop. Here, I am going to want to go out. I'll grab the auto crossbow. Ignores row, right? You already have them, yeah. I'm going to want to grab, a lot of those. Note, the Iron Cutlass has a battle power of 80. This only has a battle power of 50, but you could use it from the back row, so I will in fact be wanting 4 of those. They are dual wieldable. And over here we have shields, hats. I will be wanting a karate gi. I'll just pick it up right now. We have a cotton robe, and we've got hard leathers here. The cotton robe is kind of a hit or a miss, and in fact I will show off here in just a moment why that is. And we'll go over this. I'm not going to buy bucklers or iron shields. I don't care. Leather hats here have 10 defense. These don't have as much, but they have other stats. And since we're talking about it, why don't we go ahead and open up this? And in fact, what I will do is I'm going to put a break in here, and I will talk about this particular screen a little bit later. So until our paths cross again, thank you for joining me once more. I hope to see you again in the future. Have fun. Stay safe.